Hot dang good morning, y'all. What's up? Listen, I we've been talking lately about uh, the tabernacle, and I spent a good long time going over this, and it comes out to be a pretty interesting story. Now, you know, you just know that there's going to be something in here that's going to talk about that you're not connected, that you aren't there. In fact, what became a really great realization when I reread this, as I read and reread Exodus, this is what we're talking about, okay, with the books of Moses. And basically, from the 24th chapter to the 40th chapter, that's the end of the book. It's talking about the building of the tabernacle, and this is so that God can dwell with his people. And so after reading this and then reshuffling my mind as to what is actually going on here, what is the real picture, is that Moses and Aaron are family members. He and his wife, and all this, once he meets up with his wife, means bird. Remember this idea that they all three representing, the three people, he, himself, and her, so it's mother and father and the child. Uh, so this is basically through Aaron, this last part, because Aaron is the one, he is the messenger for Moses. Now, when it comes down to his people are not his family. They are all strangers. It's kind of cool, but I want you to recognize this, that all those other people in his flock are not him. So God singles only him to come up. None of them, no one else. All right, other than like seven of their elders and stuff like that, but we know that's code. But you'll see that that's why his flock, the people that he brings out of, he's like their teacher, but at the same time, they don't get the same things he gets. And and that's what they're talking about. You mean you come with me, but you're not going to come with them. So it winds up being one of these things that God favors Moses, and that brings Aaron to life. And Aaron's got to have some clothes to wear when he's over there, so his garments are brought into play. The tent that they come into is our mind. And I'm synopsing over all this stuff because you don't need to read. Well, you do. You read it. Read it. It's worth the long read, but it repeats itself over and over again. But only in that it's first being told to by, I need a place to dwell in, and I want you to build it like this. And so there's this process, dong, 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 of building this place. And of course, then people have to bring stuff in to build this place, and then, there's more things. There's some other things that need to be built. There's the furniture that needs to be taken care of. And so then they'll explain it. So it winds up, then it's got to get built. And that's the third time. This third time around is when, and it's just beautiful how it's written, but it repeats itself so that it becomes very much a part of the story, that this three is this idea that when the three are when you get to the third part is the intervention of God. And it certainly was not talking about his fellow Jew friends. It was only about him. So again, we get, when it comes down to the saving, God only saves the one person and his family. He doesn't go, it's not a group thing. It's not a group thing. This, but Moses, Noah and his family are the only people that are saved. And when they talk about the end days, when you see the Son of Man coming in the clouds, it's going to be like the days of Noah, as in the days of Noah. So, he's coming only to pick one person up. So, and you're not going to be able to see him. He says you're not going to be able to grasp it. So you're going to have to start learning to use your noggin here, because that's where they're talking about, and all this stuff is talking about your noggin and about the mercy seat, and that's where you sit. He's even told at the end of this, he says, I got a place for you right here beside me. It's on this rock right here. You stand up on this rock right here. Hang out with me. So he's asked Moses to invent a place for him to come to. And so, you get the works of the people, and after their works are done, after the 6th, if anyone works on the 7th, they should be put to death. That they've killed lots of people through time, when maybe they got a little more lax now, but what the works means is trotting all over God and bringing the shit about, the blasphemy. This is the monster. This is why you're working with the religion. You're working with the stranger. All right. She makes you cast all these other things aside. This is where the gold comes in. That's why they found him, they found him with this calf, and that they're just not worthy. Their whole idea, they said they called them stiff-necked people. I know these people, God says. I know these people. They're stiff-necked, That's the same thing as having a hardened heart, It's just really, really cool. And their things are wax gross. We want to wax strong. We want to get more power. And that's what we get when we honor mother and father, by hooking them together, creating one out of you, and actually serving the Lord correctly. So it's just so really cool. This Moses, Aaron, Nabab, this guy, there's the third name in here, Nabadab. Do you know what that means? It means it's a willing volunteer. And it falls in the third spot in here, which is the body, which is talking about the South. The willing volunteer. And the Abby something another is about a friend of God. But you'll see that Moses becomes the west. Moses is west. Aaron is the emotions. All right, so he becomes 2, or the north, and Nabadab becomes south, and Abedinu and stuff like that becomes God, and he also is inviting 70 elders to come along with him. All right. And this is the beginning of, hey, you guys want you to come up here, chat with me, leave everybody else behind. All right. And so this is talking about, and Moses was gone for like 40 days and 40 nights. So all this time that he's gone, the congregation gets a little wacky. All right. But anyways, the first parts of the story is 4:24 is about 6. So he's actually, come on up. All right. 25 be a 5, 6, it would be a 7. So you're there. This is the offerings. This is what I want from you. I want gold and silver and brass. This is the first 3 parts of the world. Remember, because he doesn't have God. They don't have God now. They don't have that 4th spiritual part. All right. But they would like to have gold, which is the first kingdom, the head. Like the silver, which is the second kingdom, is the power. All right. And the third would be brass, becomes, from our gut to our thighs. This is what controls us. This is what he's wanting from us. Those are the first 3 that they asked for. But then it goes on to include the 12, all right, which is, later on it becomes the breastplate and stuff like that. But it's the 12 would be the 12 part, the zodiac signs. Okay, starting from Aries, all the way down to the Pisces. But It's just beautifully done. I'm going to tell you guys. Put it. He's got. This is about the tabernacle design. This is a very long one, and it cost a talent of pure gold. This is, I mean, a talent is what you're supposed to use. It's what it takes to make this whole thing, and a talent. Now, later on, a talent is what's used. There's a half a talent is what's paid for it. It works out to being 10, the number 10%. This is what God wants you to tithe from him, 10%. This is where you get your first information about tithing, all right? But 26, that's 6, 7, 8, it becomes an 8. The control number in here. So what do we get out of that is we get 10 curtains. 10 curtains, and they weave them together, all right? It's more than that, it's more than that, all right? The idea is that they are coupled. They are coupled. We're talking about the mind here. We're talking about the mother and the father, and this is a control point, and it's a positive situation. So it talks about how they are coupled together, how they were coupled. And, you know, we have one over here and one over there. We have two of them, and we're coupling them together. And this is the buttons and things that hold them together, keep them from coming apart. I mean, it's just beautifully written, but this is this idea that, you know, we got to have the pins, and we got to have this, and we got to have the buttons and the bows and all that stuff. So 3 becomes, when you get to the 26 and 3, we get the coupling of the 5 curtains with another 5. And there's a little blue, loops of blue. This is number 4. This is about worlds. Loops of blue to keep from unraveling. It's a hem that goes around. So this is the hem of everything, and this keeps it from unraveling. It's another thing about this is solid. We're talking about 8. We're talking about control. This is his now. This is nice. This is everything beautiful. And it's really funny here on 7, you got to make, they start talking about the coverings of this place. And it says here, you got to make curtains of goat hairs. And there are 11 curtains that you shall make. Listen, what's crazy about this is that goat hair represents you. Bear with me. When Esau is born, Esau is red and hairy. And that's what they're talking about. They're talking about his father, Jacob, was growing blind and can't see. So he would, Esau comes out hairy and red. And that's how he can tell who he is. And of course, Jacob is smooth. He's the keeper of the sheep, just the same as, you know, when we come up with Adam and Eve, their children. So this hair has to do with the outside. So they're talking, this is all outside. This is the body itself. They're even showing here, you know, it's got to have some hair. It's just really cool. All right. Remember, the hair is what we got to get rid of later on in the skin. This is the place that we give it up when we come to the entrance to the tabernacle. All right. That's when you cut your hair and you use it as a burnt offering. And they talk about that. They talk about the burnt offering, this offering, and that offering. I'm not going to go through that, but those are different worlds. We're just not going to go through that. Number 27, 7, 8, 9 becomes this is God's thing. Make an altar for the everlasting fire. And let's see, the cord of the tabernacle is made. This is the northeast, south, and west business that we talk about. This is also where the eternal fire that they're talking about is an altar right before you get into the tabernacle. It's supposed to be kind of not partitioned off, but it's curtained. It's curtained. So you have to go through this curtain. This curtain is a gate. This becomes like a doorway. That's the arachnoid, because nothing for going from left to right just yet. It has to be opened up before you can go left and right. All right. But this is the eternal flame. This is like the pyramid, the idea that the fire's in the middle. This is all about the middle. In the midst you shall build this, and in the midst it shall be there. So we get 28 is a 1. All right, so Aaron, thy brother, in the holy garments. All right, so they've got to make these garments. So the breastplate. The breastplate is 4. The breastplate would be 4 because it has to do, it's a square business as they are designing it with the little gold loops in the corner and the little blue pulleys above the curious girdle and stuff. Listen, the curious girdle is that, it's a cinch about the waist. And so it's a belt, and it's the idea that you've got to maintain some oil. This is where the oil comes from for the lamps. All right, so you got to X-nay on the beat A. You got to stop that. All right, no farting around till you get up in there. All right, but anyways, these are the holy garments. And this is the way that because, he's going to have to make these things so that people can serve him in, the priests in their little place. And only one person is allowed in there, and who's going to go in and give the information for those people of Israel, for those Jews, those real Jews, who's going in there? Your guy, your buddy, your brother. He's the one that's going to do it. All right. Breastplates and the Urim and Thummim. A Urim and Thummim is a way of making decisions. In the outside world, what they would do is it's like they're not dice, but there's one black one and one white one. One means yes and one means no, but they switch them around as far as like the white means dark and the dark means light, So that kind of is kind of convoluted. Something's a little different, something weird is going on there. But anyways, it's a type of divination. This is how God would answer them. Is this going to be a favorable thing to do, or is this not going to be a favorable thing to do? But it's that idea that it's going to be either black or white. It's going to be either right or wrong. And they make this up by shaking and rattle and roll. All right? That's how divination, it's taken out of their hands and putting into nobody's hand, So, anyways, this talks about the pomegranates and the bells. This is the idea. The pomegranates is the outside thing, and the bells is when you become this kind of like, because this is the coming and going out of the tabernacle. You've got to know the difference, so lest he die, So there's this. It's just funny because it keeps them from dying. You're not dying whenever you go into a meditation and go and see God. But it's this idea that, you better have this garment so that you can tell the difference between when you are coming into this place or going out of this place. Let's go on to 29. That's 9, 10, 11. So it's 11. That makes it a 2. So this is about you. All right. It says, how to. This is the how to. This is how to kill the bullock at the door of the tabernacle. This is number 11 in this business. You were supposed to bring this, and this. All right. And so what they do, they have to listen to the order of this. This is 29. It's representing you. You are this. You are. What do we say? You are the sacrifice, all right? So this is how to hallow them that are going to give, something going on, because they've got to hallow these people. They're going to put them in clothing and stuff like that. We got to hallow. This is how you hallow them, So you got to bring these people to life, to bring them alive. So this is to sanctify both Aaron and his sons, all right? And so all those people that come after him. And one of the things it says here at 11, say, kill the bullock in the door of the tabernacle. That's on the sixth chakra. That's when you kill the outside part. All right. Later on, we're going to talk about this as the veil. You have the veil on and the veil off. All right, we're going to talk about that, but this is what they're talking here, introducing. But they want to kill the bullock at the door of the tabernacle. All right, and later on they're going to kill the ram, and the ram becomes, this is killed on the altar. All right. So one is the outside thing, just outside. This is where you kill him, and the other one is killed on the inside, and the other one comes in twos. All right. It's just really beautiful, you guys. And to sanctify them both. So let's go to 30. 30 is 3. 3 is going to be a combination of God and his creation. And this is making the altar burn incense. All right. Let's see. Making the altar. This is a ransom for his soul. And they shall give half a shekel. Half a shekel is 10. All right. And the lover of brass. Oh, the lower of brass. So making the altar burn, the ransom of the soul, and shall be given half a shekel. It's what it costs. This is what it costs you to do this, and you're asked to give up this small 10% of you, which is your left mind, the left of mind, the part of you which is called your conscience is gone. Nothing else has to be tampered with. Just that thing that you think with, just that part of you that is you. That's the only part that needs to get clean. It talks about the anointing oil, and I call it holy jism. All right. So they talk about don't get it on your outside. This is only an inside thing. So this is why they want to hold on. They want you to, this idea of being chastity, for God, is that if you can keep this juice inside of you going, there's an eternal light that needs to be lit and keep lit all the time. So it's one of the things that you have to come in and, and offer up for the Lord, to make, so that you can make this part of you come alive. All right. 31 is a 4. We have 2 men that do all the work. They're always sending the 2 people, and that's what they're talking about here. The 2 men, and they're fancy people. They're the artists. This is one that God teaches how to do this and how to do that and how to do this and of all mysterious works. Just so many things. And this is these 2 people that he got them to do. Talking about keeping the Sabbath, that no one can work on the Sabbath. It's 31. It's a control thing. This idea that when you're stamping on the Lord is when you're in your work. And so if it's Sunday and you're in your bliss and stuff like that, this is this idea that you've made it over to the other side. If you start talking shit about God, you're going to get killed all over again. You're going to die and go back to this old thing. All right, but that's what it means, all right, to work on the Sabbath. Because remember, anybody, you can come up and see God anytime. Let's go on. Let's see, number 32. 32 becomes 3, 4, 5. Becomes 5. This is mutiny. This is when they make the golden calves, and he finds out these motherfuckers are stiff-necked. God damn it. So Moses breaks the tablets. This is the idea of breaking the tablets, the 2, breaking. You're no longer separated. This is like, this is God telling, I'm going to put something between your seed and her seed. All right. It's the same thing. Moses breaks the tablets, So, and he breaks them at the base of the mount. This is where he gets all the good guys. He says, "What am I going to do with you?" So it's really the tribe, the Levi tribe, are the ones that manage the holy place, the tabernacle. Those are the guys that take care of things. The tribe of Levi. Okay, and so what they would do is they were told to pull out their swords, and they were going to go from 10 to 10, 10 to 10, killing everybody's son or brother, their other. They were going to, so it was going to take it away from all of these. They were going to, and 3,000 people were killed during that particular time. So there's that three again. So those people, it was a sacrifice again. But you have to understand that this never happened. There was never any of this slaughter among the people. It wasn't happening like that. He was just going to go out there. Those people that wanted to come are on the side. Those are the ones that are going to do the fighting for us. This is where they started to come from, is from this tribe. And that they are the ones that go out there and slaughter the other sides, or clean them up. But it's just interesting that this is the idea of turning it off for them and taking away their child, taking away their brother, and not even giving them a chance. This is where they wind up with the vine only goes up to so far. And all these stories that, all the outside people in these stories can only come to the gate. They can only come where the rock is, where there's something covering. You can't get anywhere else from that. That's as far as you can go. So the plague, he plagued the people. All right, God plagued them. So what do they need? Someone like a Pharaoh to do these things to them, and here God does it. Is doing it to them. All right, so with 33, we get the blessing for Moses and not his people. That's 33:6. So this is when he finds out that, hey, your friends ain't worth it. Your friends, go back and talk with them, go and do all this, but they're not worth it. They're not coming. I only want you. All right, that's number 33. 34, as it gets a 4, 5, 6, it becomes a 7. Show me the new tablets. He comes and hews up 2 more new tablets. This is the new heaven and the new earth. All right, this is the 2 new, and they're together now. They're not broken. All right. This is where we get this fallen angel story in 16 when they start talking about, the sons are going to go with the daughters and they're going to start whoring around. This is the idea of going to the lower, hey, this is what's going to happen. That side of that side is into mischief. They're kind. So there's this idea. This is when they're introducing the 6 days of works until harvest time. This is this idea that they have to do the works until harvest, and that's the end times. All right, that's what they're all waiting to be, to be reaped. Some are ready to be squished, have the blood squeezed out of them. Some are waiting for their hairs to be cut. We're just waiting to die. That's what we're doing. All right. This is where we get this idea of putting the veil on his face. This is, when he wants to speak to God, he has to take the veil off. He's got to remove the garments. And when he is on one side, they can see his face. On his other side, they can't see his face. This is the, Moses, always looking away. I can't see. I can't stare at God. Never sees you face to face. But here they are talking about being in the tabernacle, and they're talking to God face to face. All right. It made me put my mind into the idea of the cherubims that are looking face to face, and being able to see God face to face. If they put us in the middle, we're like, right in the middle between mother and father. This is the top of the ladder, 6th chakra, is the place where Moses gets to sit and speak to God face to face. But we're in spirit mode. So when you don't got no skin or nothing, you ain't got no eyes and all your ears. You don't have your senses. That's the whole idea. You killed all that off. It's gone. Let's keep going. So they use the new tablets. All right. So number 35. 5 and 3 is 8. So it's the gathering. The 8 is, pull it together when 3 or 4, or when 2 or 3 are gathered together. Someone's going to be in the midst. All right, so it's the gathering. 6 days shall the work be done. This is about the offerings. Let's start bringing in the offerings. All right. Oh, they talk about the seven have the ram skins dyed red and badger skin and the shittim wood. It's talking about these are the things that you want to bring in for this killing. And all the this is talking about, let's see how far does this go? Not very much further. This is bringing everything in. They're bringing it all in. This is where we get the idea for the table and the candlestick and the door and enter the door to entering the tabernacle. This is where the wise women did weave, so that they're talking. They bring in the women. This is where women start showing up around the door. More of offerings. The wise women 5, 6, 7 become 7. The 7, 25. This is number 25. The wise women did weave with their hand. There's more offerings gathered. It's gone. It's one of the longest ones of them all. Then we get this on 11, which is about 2. 11 becomes a 2. The tabernacle, his tent, his coverings, his something tax, his tax something another, his tax, his boards, his bars, his pillars, and his sockets. All right, this is number 7. This is talking about the whole business. The sockets is what's in the ground. The pillars is what's holding it up, and the bars. The bars is representing the 3rd chakra, which is that's the gates of hell somewhere around there. That whole idea. All right, we may have to work into that. Boards would be the heart chakra. Latches is our throat. Coverings is our head, and his tent, which is be the crown. They also talk about every man in his tent and his kid outside. It's just beautifully written, you guys. So when you think about when Moses went to the tabernacle, which was just set outside of where all the people are, all the men in the place rose. Everyone stood up and waited and watched him. All right, as he did his little business. We get 36 is the putting it all together. That's what 36 is. These 2 guys go and start building everything, and you're bringing it to life. This would be like rebuilding the temple or building the temple. This is the beginning. And then it repeats itself again on 37. I put the ditto in there. We get 38, the altar. This becomes 11. And it also becomes a 2. So it's the altar, the burnt offering. There's a big round thing to bathe in. This is what you're supposed to have. You're supposed to use this before you do this. All right. So basically, what happens is that you're going through your you have to move your clothes off, and you got to do this, and then the smoke and all this business. This is the 4 stages of conscious. They have to be taken care of. They have to be gone, because when you bathe into this, then you can go in. You'll work them on the other side, because you're not allowed to go in there without the right garments. And they talked about this in earlier or other parts of the Bible, where does this guy have his wedding apparel on, And basically, I think you're supposed to be naked, There's, this here is talking about the court itself. The court with all, the court becomes, the court is the brethren. It's this idea, the whole business here. You're the court. You're the table. You're where everything. You're all this. You're where all this bread is set upon. You're what's going to be chomped on and eaten towards the end of this business. But 9 becomes the court. This is in 38. We're in chapter 38. All right. There's only a couple more left before I let you go. Number 14 becomes the 5, becomes the person, all right? But 4 or 5. So this is just before the gate, all right? It's 15 cubits, all right? 15 cubits is 4, all right? And, 15 is 5 and 1 would be a 6. So we're talking there's 6 things before you get to the gate. And because there are 2 gates. There's another one on the other side. It also represents 6. So there are 6 things that you have to do, 6 steps, which is the works that you have to do before you get to the gate of this business. All right. And then what we get after that, we get from 15 becomes 15 is talking about 6. All right. And so it just repeats itself. 21 are like thank yous. From 21 to 31, it's like, everyone's bowing over and helping and thanking each other. We get to number 39. 39, we only got one more left after this. We get, that's a 12, so that's a 3. We have to have clothing for the brother. All right, so they start making the clothing for the brother, which, it's nothing, but it is. It talks a whole lot. It talks a whole lot of mess, but they had to sanctify him. They had to do all of this, and now, all this business, everything is coming together, putting it all together, and then 39 is, all right, we got to clothe the brother. We got to get this going, all right? And so what we get out of the end of it here, we get 40, the operation of the tabernacle. Now, I'm going to X you down so I can read 40 to you. All right. It's the only one. It's got to go on. All right. 25, 27. Give me a moment. I have a very fast computer, but I have a very slow finger. Kind of old-fashioned. Just click one click at a time. Here we are getting over to 40. Here we are. 40. 40 is about the world. This is this idea. We're going to change your mind. And the Lord spake unto Moses, saying, and said, on the first day of the month thou shalt set up the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and thou shalt put therein the ark and the testimony, and cover the ark with the veil. And thou shalt bring the table and set it in order, the things that are to be set in order upon it. And thou shalt bring in the candlestick and the light and the lamps thereof. And thou shalt set in the altar of gold for the incense before the ark of the testimony, and put the hanging of the door in the tabernacle. And thou shalt set the altar and the burnt offering before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation. And thou shalt set the laver between the tent and the congregation, the altar. And thou shalt put water therein. And thou shalt set up the court about and around, hang up the hanging of the court gate. See, this is the last thing he has to do. He's being told this is what he's doing, right? And thou shalt anoint the oil. Number 9. And thou shalt take the anointing oil and anoint the tabernacle and all that there is in, and shall hallow it, and all the vessels thereof, and it shall be holy. Hollow means to empty out the inside. That's the whole point of this, is hollow, be thy name. And thou shalt anoint the altar of the burnt offering and all his vessels, and sanctify the altar, and it shall be an altar most holy. And thou shalt anoint the laver and his foot, and sanctify it. And thou shalt bring Aaron and his sons unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and wash them with water. This is bringing his buddy. You will bring your buddy up, and you're going to wash him with water, which means is to clean them. And this takes it. And they shall put on the apron and the holy garments. And thou shalt bring his sons and clothe them with coats. And thou shalt anoint them as you didst their father. And thou shalt anoint them as thou didst anoint their father. Shall minister unto them the priest's office, and their anointing shall surely be an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations. And did Moses this every first day of the month. He reared up the tabernacle, fastened his sockets, and set the boards thereof, and the bars thereof, and reared up the pillars, the pillars. And he spread abroad the tent, the tabernacle. And he took upon the testimony of the ark, and he set the staves on the ark, and he put the mercy seat upon the ark, and brought the ark unto the tabernacle. He set the veil, the covering, the ark, and the testimony, and he put the table in the tent, and he had the congregation upon the side of the tabernacle towards without the veil. This is what he did on his own. And he set bread in the corner thereof, because you got to be ready for that, right? And he put the candlestick in the tent, in the congregation, and against the table on the side of the tabernacle southward. And he lighted the lamps before the Lord. And he put the golden altar in the tent of the congregation before the veil. He did all of this before he veiled, all right? What he's doing is he's doing all the work, all right? So then he comes down here on 33, and he reared up the court around the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the hanging of the court gate. So Moses finished the work. You have to build this place. This is why we're in this slumber, and while we are disconnected from God. We have to build this place to bring God into us. We literally do. And you don't get it by going down the road and being hit on the head by a coconut. So the cloud covered the tent and the congregation, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. Moses was not able to enter into the tent of the congregation because the cloud abode thereon. You see, your body, remember, Moses representing the intellect, and it's not allowed in. It's that skin ain't allowed in. Never was ever allowed in. Only those people that he brought to the door was his brother Aaron. All right, and so the cloud of the Lord was upon the tabernacle by day, and fire was lit by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel throughout all their journeys. So you'll find that when you have this, it's a connection that lasts forever and ever and ever, and it becomes that light inside of you. And you guys, it's just beautiful. Where are you at? There you are. So, the breastplates, all these things, they become those people, the high priests on the outside. These are guys that get this garb. They look like shit. That just the robes of the high priest, it looks awful. It just looks like it's cut and paste, and all this is like they really tried to bring this writing to life the best they can. But I'm learning that the stays and things that are meant to hold things up are legs. They are not meant to be carried around by hands. All right. All of my studies, when it comes down to the boards of the tabernacle, they're going vertical. All right. They're not going horizontal. And that includes the staves. So anyways, what you think about that, you guys? Isn't that wild? This is, again, about the Kundalini, making of the candle, and It's just really beautiful. Where did I get the candle one from? I know the candle's in this book. Yeah, it's up here. It's in the 25, chapter 25. We get it down at the candle. The candlestick is number 31, becomes a 4. Now, you know the candlestick is our chakra system, and you can't get there without 4. It's just without 4, without the world's changing, because that's the only time you use it, is when you're changing the world. You know, and then afterwards, just to go mend it, make sure everything's cool. Candlestick of beaten work shall it be made. All right, so you got to think about that word when it says it got to be made of beaten work, and so the flowers and the knobs and stuff like that have to be made the same. So it means, you know, this is the works. You have to. This is, you know, this is the works. It has to be beaten. It has to be made this way. It has to be made by by the strife, by bad, by have going through hell to get there. All right. So it's got the shaft, it's got the branches, it's got the boughs or bowls, and it's got the knops, and it's got the flowers. So this is about the 5, you know, and just wonderfully written. So don't let any of these Jewish people out here hoodwink you into thinking that God exists outside of you. He doesn't. All right. If what he does is he represents your skin, when God says that, you know, I am both inside and outside of you. This is that idea that, you know, the skin has its right, the skin's represented by the left brain, and our spirit, what we don't see, is represented by the right. Those two, they all come in 2s, go in 3s. I'll see you later, guys. Thanks a bunch. Hope you got something out of this. Let me know.